Well, the former winner of the Boston Marathon and Runner's World Editor, Amby Burfoot, of the United States, described this as the greatest foot race in the world. Well, there's the start as they head out of Pietermaritzburg and down towards Durban. And it's initially Norrie Williamson. I know you know this course very well. Describe these first few kilometres they head out of Pietermaritzburg.
Well, the first kilometres are all uphill on the down run, and that's the key for a lot of people. As they're turning now to the left, and they're going out there down towards or up to the back of Polly Shorts, then they have a very, very steep drop down Polly Shorts. And this year, one of the keys is going to be not to damage their legs on the down, which takes them from 8 kilometres down to 10 kilometres. They then face another up to Ashburton, and then they will be climbing their way again from that. That's us now. This point here is the start of the Polly Shorts down. And you can see the twist, a great view out, and they can see the freeway and all the seconds going down the freeway back down towards Durban as they run down that hill. But no sooner have they gone down than they're climbing back up again, up towards the Ashburton crossroads. And then down into Tumble-In. And Tumble-In, Mike, normally there's a couple that sit out there in their bed in the morning. So probably the coldest part in the whole route. But they're out there watching the race in their bed.
Well, Zitalele Sinkwe, you've run this race yourself before, particularly the down run. This initial part of the race, as Norrie's just explained, ups and downs, but they're very taxing on the legs.
Well, Mike, when you talk, comrade, there's not really down, because there's tough hills even if you're going down. Because I remember when I was approaching Cape Town, I had some problems and I was convinced that I'm going down, but I had feelings of some hills. But it's better than going up, although when it's about 15 kilometers to go, it hurts very bad.
Well, going past the chicken farms there, and that's one of the, I'd say, the smelliest area of the Comrades Marathon, Norrie. It certainly has a bit of a pungent smell, but this is an area going towards Cater Ridge where the crowds start to really build up.
Well, right now they're at highest point, and highest point's 20 kilometres into the race, and of that first 20 kilometres, there's only 6 kilometres down. This is where actually your race is made or broken, because if you go through that too fast, then you've really got a problem. Then, of course, you go underneath the freeway again, and you then have another climb, because everyone thinks from the highest point it's all the way down. Well, it isn't. It's a big climb up and then drop into Camperdown. 24 kilometres done here, 65 kilometres to go, and then you go through what I call the amusement park, the Big Dipper and the roller coaster as you work your way through. This is it now, into the Big Dipper, across the bridge. That's 26 kilometres done there, and into the roller coaster alongside the N3 before you drop down again, and then another climb into Cater Ridge.
Well, as I say, Cater Ridge, an area where the crowds really start to build up, particularly on the uprun. There's a lot of crowds. It's fairly early in the morning for the leaders when they come through here, and the guys really not that much out at this stage. But Cater Ridge starting to get the crowd. It's still fairly flat. Zet, just looking at the course as it goes through to Cater Ridge now, the business end of the marathon starting as they head towards halfway.
Indawo esijonge kuyo ngoku indawo ethanda bamnandi ke ngoba indawo ethanda bamthebelele kodwa ke ingxaki xa upha usube noko sowuva uba noko sekusetyenziwe kodwa ke into ekumotivateayo xa kulaa ndawo yi-crowd ephaa engumangaliso uthi nokuba ke uyafa uphinde uvuke ngoba ku-Comrades you die more than 10 times and you wake up again.
Well, there's a good description of the Comrades Marathon from Zitalele Sinkwe. Quite right. Harrison Flats, one of the toughest parts of the course. We've just gone through that now. Flat as a pancake, but now the hills start towards halfway, Norrie.
Well, you say flat as a pancake, but Harrison Flats this year aren't. They're uphill. Very gradually uphill. And as you're going through this point here, in fact, that's 52 to go, and there's a chap that will be sitting out there today, Stephen Causer. He was one of the first Africans to run officially in 1975, and he ran 5 medals before calling it quits. But he'll be out there watching today. They then climb up before dropping down into Nchonga, then the long climb up Nchonga. This is Nchonga now. You can see these alpine hairpin bends that take them to the top of Nchonga, and then there is that drop, that sort of free fall drop into Drummond, and everyone thinks, well, it's all over now. You know, it's just a case of going down from Drummond to the finish. Not true. The hardest part of the course is this next 8 kilometres from Drummond up past Arthur's Seat, morning Arthur, and past the Comrades Wall up to the top of Botha's Hill. That's the hardest of the whole lot, and most people underestimate that.
Well, the athletes now heading towards halfway and past that, and this is an interesting part of the race, both for the elite runners and the back of the pack. Going up Alveston, a tough climb up there as they head towards Botha's Hill, and now the legs starting to hurt, particularly for the guys at the back of the field.
Indawo esisonge yona ke siyazi uba ke indawo ethande uba nobuzaza kakhulu ngoba ii-athletes ezininzi zigijimisa phaa ke lama hotspots oobonitas ifike ke indoda phaa seyibukhathalarha kanti ke irace bekufanele uba kulapho iqala khona ithande unyuka ke naleya ndawo xa sowufika kweza ndawo usube sowucinga ke ngokude kangakanani eDurban.
And now we're seeing them dropping down. Of course, when you get into Hillcrest, then you've got 33 kilometres to go. On the screen, you're seeing the signs of the amount of distance that has been run. The runners actually see kilometres to go all the time. It's one of the quirks. But there you are in Hillcrest. The Hillcrest is 33 kilometres to go. It's at this point that the runners can, first of all, make a decision whether it's their day or not. They go down from here. There's 33 Ks, of which 5 kilometres, only 5 kilometres are uphill. So this is really where it starts. Now the next break point will be as you've gone through Gillets, you go into Kloof, and then you start looking towards Fields Hill, Mike, because that's next key point.
Well, Fields Hill, a very key point. This is the area going in towards Kloof, and big crowds normally congregate here. In fact, Kloof itself probably the best spectator point on the entire course. The course now running very close to Kloof as we get through to this point. But Zitulele Sinkwe, now for the guys, they can feel the atmosphere, particularly the South Africans will get a lot of crowd support here.
Ndawo ke zithandeke ubanzima ezi umuntu xa ibetha kuzo ngoba lokhu already ngokusowucinga ngoba sekufutshane ekhaya and uyawuva ke umthwalo lobuwenza noko sowusezinyaweni and ke amadoda asemzantsi zindawo ke noko ke azithandayo ezezingathi ziyehla ngoba lokhu vele iComrades thina ke siyithanda mayisehla kodwa ke zindawo zithanda babuhlungu ngoba xa upha kule ndawo uleqa eza ndawo zizakwehla ke zikuphethe ke ngokwamaqatha la.
And there we are coming into Pinetown, 20 kilometres to go at this point here, and the only real massive climb is the Cowies Hill, starting at 18 kilometres and climbing up. But in fact, many people feel that that's quite a nice break because they've spent so much down, and every time you put your foot down, your quads start shaking. So when they get to the top of Cowies Hill, 17 kilometres to go, and their first real view of the sea and where you're going. Mike, that is the final place. You know it's either your day or not, and this is where you throw caution to the wind or you take it. And there's a huge difference between doing the last 17 as a walk or as a run.
Well, the difference, of course, between the top athletes and the guys at the back of the pack is this last sort of 15 kilometres as they head towards 45th Cutting. This is the area through Westville and undulating hills as they come through here. And then they have this sort of prospect of this climb up 45th Cutting. On a normal day, it would be a fairly easy climb. But on a day like this, it's a really tough grind up to 45th Cutting. And then in a sense, is it all downhill to Durban? Well, it's not really, is it?
Not really, Mark. You know, this area is the area that I'll never forget in my life. You know, when I came forth, I sat about 4 minutes. That was about 15 kilometers before the finish, because I was hurting so bad till I was advised that there's nobody behind you. Stand up and keep on going. And I ended up in fourth position.
Well, there's the climb up towards 45th Cutting and Waterval Park. And then they'll make a little bit of a downhill section towards Sherwood, and then this climb up Tollgate. But, Norrie, this is where we've seen Bruce Fordyce make his big passing on Bob Delamont many, many years ago. One of the most famous parts of the course as we head towards Tollgate.
Yeah, 1984, and Bruce passed Bob and said, "You're running like a star." Tollgate is just past 5 kilometres exactly to finish, and it's the only time the spectators can truly say, "You're looking good, not far to go," and it's all downhill, because there are no more hills all the way through to the finish. You come off the freeway into Pine Street in Durban, and you can see forever. And these last 2 kilometres actually seem to take forever. But the crowds are there, and I think that's why the South Africans do so well, because they come through with the crowd finish.